Hi and welcome to this video. Today I want to show you how you can provide client reviews of professionally translated projects inside the Taia platform. Let's go right into it. My name is Taia and welcome. So, Taia is a translation platform where you can easily create projects just like this with a project workflow and then find these projects in your project sidebar. Now, some projects will then be submitted as orders where a project manager will manage such an order. You will be able to track the project timeline easily and also send messages and requests to your project manager. So let's assume that currently you're logged in as a client user, as we are, and you're asking your project manager to enable a client review of this specific project. Now, what's the purpose of this? Well, in this case, you want to provide a feedback to the translation provided by our linguists so that the linguists, as well as our translation memory and the entire system, can learn from your corrections. So essentially, instead of sending comments as in an email or in a PDF, you make these corrections directly in our app to make sure that the system can learn from your corrections and apply them in all future projects. This makes everyone's life much easier. So right now I'm logged into the platform as a project manager and I'm viewing the order that was submitted by a client. So if I scroll down, I will see that our linguist has already submitted this task and it's completed, and now it's time for you as a client to come in. So what I'll do is I'll add a client review task here, and this will allow you as a client to assign someone on your team to review this project. Now we're logged in as a client, and if we scroll down, we will see that there's a client review task that's awaiting an assignment. So what we can do now is we can go ahead and assign someone on our team to go ahead and review this project in the Taia platform. So I'll go ahead and assign this task to myself. And this will then allow me to accept this task in my dashboard. So I'll just go in my profile. I would have received an email notification about this task as well as a notification here in the app. And what I can do now is I can review this task and accept this assignment. So let's go ahead and do that. Perfect. Okay, so now that the order is created, it's translated by a professional linguist, and then a client review task is assigned to me as a client, I can go ahead and open the translation editor. So this is a very simple user interface which allows you to review the translations currently stored for this project. On the left side, you will see the main sidebar where you can see a lot of different features, but for now let's focus on the main area where we can see the source text in the left column and the target text in the right column. So we can click on each specific segment and provide corrections to the translations or save them if we're happy with them. So in this case, we're translating a user manual for a flying car, and let's say we find some details that are incorrect. We could go ahead, correct those details, and they will be noted here. Another thing that's also very useful here is that you can go ahead and add different comments or flag specific errors. So for example, let's add a comment here informing the project manager that this translation does not match our style guide, for example. And you can leave more content here if you wanted to. Now this segment has a visible comment here, and if I were to click on the main comment section, I would also see all the segments with comments there. We could also go ahead and, for example, flag this segment as an error. So we can go into the annotations and select what sort of error this is. So for example, in this case, let's say we don't like the fluency of this. We can add an optional note and mark down what exactly is going on. This is a great way for you to provide feedback directly in the system, which is then so much easier for the linguists and the project managers to implement in future workflows. So one by one, you can go through all the segments, provide corrections directly by saving them here, which saves these corrections to the translation memory. Now, a translation memory is like a database of all your past projects. Now, this means that everything that was ever saved and edited by human linguists or clients in this case is stored in the translation memory, and can then be reused in future projects because our system learns from the translation memory and provides these corrections in advance. Similarly, if you find that a specific phrase or term is missing, you could add that to the glossary, but if you don't have access to that, you can again leave a comment for your project manager and ask for a specific term to be added to a glossary, which they will then handle for you. I hope this was interesting and informative. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. There's always the chat option in the right corner where you can start a new conversation and get in touch with our support team. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a lovely day.